the other chapter that I think will surprise people is actually the nutrition chapter.
Mm.
And I've had a lot of conversations with registered dietitians who are kind of going off the beaten path for not only female athlete performance, but also for female hormonal health.
Mhm.
And I'm just really fascinated about the most up-to-date research on how we can support our female athletes' physical performance, mental performance, and hormonal health through really upping protein and healthy fats. And I'm not saying I'm anti-carb, but I'm just saying that based on the current research, we're giving them too many processed carbs and sugars and like really celebrating these things when it's actually awful for hormonal health.
Okay.
And it's going to
Wow.
really rock the boat and piss a lot of people off. But, I'm not just getting this information from nowhere. There's a lot of registered dietitians I've talked to in the
Yeah.
female space, but also even OBGYNs whose research I've pulled. So it's super fascinating, and I'm really excited for the nutrition chapter.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about your books is it's not just like anecdotal. It's like you're doing the research, you're talking to the experts. And just like your first book, like I know this book is going to be very scientific based and have like a lot of research and science to like back up what you're talking about, because I know like there's a lot of crap out there. And so I'm glad that there's this resource, really, this guide, this kind of playbook that parents and athletes will be able to go to when they're seeing other things on Instagram and whatnot, where they can kind of go back to your book and really reference the more truthful side of the equation.
There's definitely a lot of research, and I would say compared to the first book, it's more of a practical application. So there is a lot of research in this book, but it's more, okay, what are some sample meal plans? What are some sample recovery circuits? There's a exercise video library in there. There's pictures of drills for every physical performance quality. And then at the end of the book, there's actually workbooks for the off season. And so people just get a little sample program. And the first book was mainly just, okay, why do we do this? But
Right.
now this book's like, okay, how do we do this?
Yeah.
And this book is actually 3 times the size of my first book. So I'll just here, like, that's just a standard
That's gonna be
size.
a nice big book. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty big, but
Yeah.
I'm excited. And yeah, I think it's like close to 500 pages.
Yeah, that's
So big.
that's a nice beefy book.
Yeah. There's
Nice.
there's a lot of pictures, which will be nice to split up the text, so it'll be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the mental performance section of the book a little bit. I know I've looked at some of your on your posts talking about what's included in those mental performance chapters. For you, what I guess what was the favorite chapter that you wrote around mental performance, or I guess maybe the most important chapter that you're really excited for girls to dive into in that section?
Definitely the responsibility and discipline chapter.
Yeah.
And I know you've talked about this before on our Zoom calls, but just really encouraging girls to see having responsibility and having the pressure of being an athlete as a privilege.
Sure.
And I think if we truly want to empower female athletes, we have to tell them that it is a blessing to take responsibility and to chase high performance and to really discipline yourself to get better. And I think that's where the purpose in our sports career is found, the purpose in our life is found, is just really leaning into discipline and not just doing whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
So, you have to have some sort
Yeah.
of structure in your life. That's what high performance is all about. And there's a lot of sacrifices you're going to have to make. There might be seasons where you're working extra hard and you're juggling a lot, and that's okay, especially if you want to get to the next level. So I think that chapter will kind of go against the mainstream as well. And we've talked about this before. I think self-care is a good thing, intentionally, but when we talk about it like way too much to the point of us avoiding responsibility to other people, I think that's when it gets a little bit dangerous. So I touch on that as well.